into this. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not necessarily agree with Louis Farrakan.
So he had to make this disclaimer because most of white America hates Louis Farrakhan. And Louis Farrakhan, of course, the leader of the Nation of Islam, was banned, I believe, about 2 or 3 years ago off of all platforms on social media. Also, what I found out, came out a couple of weeks ago, is that Louis Farrakhan, his father was actually a white man. And also everybody knows in conscious circles that Malcolm X was actually murdered by a member of the Nation of Islam. Me personally, let me just make my disclaimer. This is Officer Tatum. I came across this video. I was sitting there wondering what I'm going to talk about. Came across this video, seen about 2 more videos of his, and I understood exactly his angle. He has 2 million followers. And of course, you know, the demographic is, you know, white Americans. He has a American flag behind, so you already know the angle that he is coming from. I personally don't have anything against the brother. I do not agree with his views, and I'm going to dissect this video that popped up on my feed and just get into it and give some commentary on it in the type of mind state that a lot of black people, black Americans, black Christians have towards other black people. So yes, the disclaimer, his channel is the Officer Tatum, right? That's for the, you know, I don't want my video to get took down, so I'm gonna give him his proper credit. This video is called Louis Farrakhan Finally Told the Truth About Black People. And what you'll realize is that what it really is one thing that Farrakhan said, and you'll see this throughout the whole video, this same theme, this backdrop theme, you'll see the same thing being said. And so we're going to get into it.
However, I'm a type of person that when I hear truth, I'm going to express truth, or I'm going to present truth to you, because there's not many people that will say the things that this gentleman is saying. Now, I know people ain't going to like it sometime because Louis Farrakhan be saying some racist stuff. But however,
now, he said people ain't gonna like it because Louis Farrakhan be saying some racist stuff. If you go online, just go on a black story about black people on YouTube. Go look in the comments, and you'll see so many white Americans saying racist stuff or things with racist undertones about black people. So just to, you know, be the balance in what he just said, meaning I don't support the Nation of Islam. I'm a Hebrew Israelite. But when it comes to black people, and when black people speak truth, I do agree with truth. Now, I don't have to agree with your ideology or what you believe in, but it's truthful, I will agree with it, because truth is absolute. You know, no matter where it's coming from, you got to agree with the facts, right?
Is this point relevant to the black community or not? Because I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of people calling me out my name, Uncle Tom Coon, sellout, bootlicking, working for the white man. You wish you was a white bootlicker, or whatever they say. Whatever they say, all kinds of stuff. But
now, you heard what he said. Now, when it comes to that, Officer Tatum, I don't know you, but if you're a person that loves truth, like you say, you should actually think about what people are saying and then look at it. That's my suggestion.
Then again, they love people like him. They look up to men like him. But he's saying what I'm saying, but y'all ain't listening. Roll the clip. Don't listen to me.
Hey, you a big grown hulk, 25, 30 years old, you blaming your mother and your father for your shortcoming? Don't you realize that you are now the master of your destiny? And if you as a grown person want to continue to blame the white man, blame your father, blame your mother, blame the educator. I had a bad teacher. I went to that dumb school over there. I was in reform school. I went to jail. I went to here. Every place you've been is school. And if you learn what you're supposed to learn, you come out of wherever you've been with a determination to become your own master.
I'm going to stop it there because he get crazy. He get crazier. He get racist on the end. He starts saying slurs against white people. But he's espousing what black people need to do to be successful. Stop blaming your father. Now, at some point, you needed your father, but you grown now. Stop blaming your father. Stop blaming the school you went to. Stop blaming what your mama did or did not do. Stop blaming your situation. You went to jail, but you free now. Let me say this, because this is what he said, and I think it was brilliant. Every situation is an opportunity to learn. And this is not...
Now look, what he just said right there, I agree with. You can't blame people for your shortcomings when you become an adult. You can't look back and say you had a bad childhood and that's why you're not succeeding. You can't look at your mother or your father wasn't there, because at the end of the day, none of that is going to help you move forward and progress. So I actually agree with that point. I agree with that idea, because Farrakan said it and now he's just reiterating it, and I agree with it. I just wanted to say that I don't disagree with everything in this video, but I'm going to make it clear the points that I disagree with.
Not just for black folks. It's especially for black, but this is not just for black folks. Everything that you go through is an opportunity for you to learn. If you learn from it, you will become better. If you don't learn from it, you'll be eaten out of the trash can, blaming the white man forever.
And see, that's the point I'm making. Now, Farrakhan, that was the first thing that came out of his mouth, like, stop blaming the white man. Now here he goes. You'll be eaten out of a trash can, blaming the white man forever. Like, when it comes to being poor or being in poverty, black people don't go around just blaming the white man. You understand? Black people, like, I grew up in poverty. A lot of black people grow up and never ever blame white society. I grew up and I never had anything against white people. Now, my teacher showed me the eyes on the prize when I was about in the 6th grade. I seen the eyes on the prize. You should watch that, Officer Tatum. And so I did get an understanding that racism did exist, and we only had like 2 white people in the class, but I grew up around blacks and Hispanics, black and brown. That's what I grew up around. But the point is that black people don't walk around thinking like that. Now, the older generation always thought like that because they were still connected to what had happened to them. They still are connected to them stories. You ask some of them old people in your family about, their experience with white folks, and you'll get the real truth, right? But he keeps leaning back on that, the white man. He's like being a defensive lineman, protecting, the white man, or the way black people may feel about white people, when black people have valid reasons for that. Very valid, the most valid reasons in the planet Earth. Tell me I'm lying. Let me get back to it.
You gotta learn your history.
Oh.
Learn what really
learn your history. Let me
happen. So that you can become better. Learn what really happened.
Learn what really happened.
So that you can become better in the future.
So when we look at history, black people have a very valid reason. If they wanted to learn what really happened, because they sure not teaching it in the schools, Officer Tatum. Black people sure not teaching their children in the household, Officer Tatum, about what really happened, right?
What happened to black Americans post-slavery, before the civil rights movement? There was an explosion of wealth. There was an explosion of inventions. People like Booker T. Washington with the Tuskegee Institute, Madam C.J. Walker, the richest woman, the first female to be a millionaire out of any woman of any race.
Now, I have to correct you on that, Officer Tatum. Madam C.J. Walker is a mainstream story. It is not the real history. There was a sister named Annie Malone Turnbull. And this sister, Madam C.J. Walker, worked for her. This sister started a beauty and cosmetic empire where she had over 75,000 agents worldwide going door to door selling beauty products. And so Madam C.J. Walker, the lady that you've heard about, actually learned from this sister and took that formula and created her empire. She was great, but she was not the first.
In the early 1900s, Harlem, Black Wall Street in the 20s, Black people were exploding with technology, with ownership, had theaters, bus line, schools, you name it. Learn your history and stop blaming somebody else. And if you...
Man, it's a lot to unpack here. So he asked what happened. He talked about the accomplishments of black people. He talked about Black Wall Street. He talked about Madam C.J. Walker. He talked about Booker T. Washington, the technology, everything that was going on pre-civil rights movement. He talked about all those things. But then he glossed over all of the terrorism, all the Jim Crow, all the racism, all of the evil atrocities that white America or the white man committed against black people by burning those cities down, by stealing their inventions and their patents, by literally stealing their land. Let's not talk about the Native American Indians. Let's not talk about the Hispanics and the Mexicans. Let's not talk about all of those things and just talk about the good things and say, well, what happened? You was doing good. Let me tell you something. This is what happened. This is why they were doing good. And I'm going to throw this little tidbit in too, Officer Tatum. Some of the top HBCUs were built at a time when there was openly white racism and terrorism against black people before the civil rights movement. But when black people got out of slavery, I'm sure you heard of 40 Acres and a Mule, right, Officer Tatum? Well, guess what? Those men were Christians and they believed in Jesus like you. And you guess what? They sat at the table with United States generals and came up with that deal. And in that deal, you know what they wanted? They did not want to be around or live around white people. They didn't want to be around the people who had just had them enslaved. They felt, though, just give us some land and we can be self-sufficient within years. Give us the land and we can take care of ourselves. They didn't want to be around them. And that was the mindset of those black people at that time. You had Weeksville that was built within 11 years coming out of slavery. You had Black Wall Street, Rosewood, Allensworth, Texas, Allensworth, California, Slocum's, Texas. The list goes on and on. But you forget that those places were burnt down by jealous, envious white men. Officer Tatum, you ain't heard about the Red Summer? You ain't heard about the New York riots, the draft riots? You ain't heard about the East St. Louis massacre? I can go on and on. Massacre after massacre. There's a city that's underwater in Atlanta where black people live. I can go on and on. And you said, what happened? What happened is every time black people tried to do something for themselves, whites came and destroyed it. And then the civil rights movement came and put black people right up under the foot of America, becoming second-class citizens all over again. What happened? Oh, I guess you don't know about Jim Crow and the civil rights movement, Officer Tatum. You don't know about the drugs that were put into the black communities by the United States government, do you, Officer Tatum? You don't know about the guns that's dropped off on trains and crates in Chicago and in Los Angeles and Compton. I'm in Southern California. You don't know about that, right? You don't know about the destruction and the plan and the infiltration of any black group. Do you, Officer Tatum? I don't want to get. I'm gonna let you talk. I'm gonna let you go.
Look at the person in the mirror, and I'm preaching. Put your offering in the offering plate. If you learn to look at the man or the woman in the mirror, you will be successful. Look at that person and say, why are you not succeeding? How come you keep getting turned down at a job? Don't look at the white man. Don't look at what are you doing?
He said, once again, don't look at the white man. Don't blame the white man. Why are you not getting the job? You know, when I was young, like I said, I never really blamed white people for anything. And even when I was looking for a job, I remember I was like 16, 17, turning 17. And I put in, telling how old I am. I put in 100 applications and I only got like 2 or 3 calls back and didn't get no job, you know? So when you look at the job or the employment statistics, it's been double. The unemployment rate has been double between black people and white people for forever, right? Redlining, redlining is where they cordon off certain parts of a city where you can't rent or you can't buy a home. You can't get those home loans. There's been so many things against black people, and you have the nerve to say don't blame white supremacy. Like, that's just ridiculous to me.
Why are you not valuing your body and you giving it to every man that hits you up in the DMs? Why are you not valuing your body, young man, and you trying to sleep with every single woman that you see at the nightclub? Why are you not valuing who you are and your full potential? Why are you not studying and getting straight A's in that class? You want to stick it to the white man, outdo the white man.
He said you want to stick it to the white man, outdo the white man. Black people, when left alone, literally outdid the white man. But every time they destroyed everything black people had. What are you talking about, Officer Tatum? Right? Now, what he was saying earlier, I agree with. He talked about black women sleeping around, black men sleeping around, looking in the mirror, looking at the person in the mirror and being, that's how you change and you become better, by taking accountability. I agree with those things. Personally, I agree with that. And as people, as individuals, that's what we should do in the black community. But don't fault black people when you look at the history, Officer Tatum, for feeling some type of way about white supremacy. That is ignorant and irresponsible of you, as somebody that, you got 2 million followers. I'm sure they're not all black people, but it's irresponsible. It's, in a way, it's dishonest, because like earlier, you glossed over all of the evil done to black people. You glossed over all that. You talk about all the accomplishments of the people back then, but you didn't say how they were destroyed. So in the same way, you can't be upset at black people for feeling some type of way. Now, your message would have been more powerful if you would have just admonished black people and you tell black people what you're saying without stop blaming the white man, stop blaming white supremacy. We have every right to. Those points are valid. All right?
Want to stick it to somebody, outdo them, outperform them, become a better version of yourself. These are elements of our society that we are lacking. And that's why we see the things that are going on today. Everything is a lesson learned. Everything you do is a part of your testimony. That at one point, one day, you will be able to share that to bless other people. One moment, one day, you will be able to share that within yourself to make yourself better in the future. But ladies and gentlemen, you may not agree with the prophet Elijah, whatever his name is, Farrakan, whatever his name, Louis Farrakan. I thought they may have Elijah Louis Farrakan or something there. You know how they do it. But you may not agree with everything he's saying. But I'm showing people that y'all listen to, some people that y'all respect, saying the same thing I'm saying. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
And when white Americans tell the Negro to lift himself by his own bootstraps, they don't look over the legacy of slavery and segregation. I believe we ought to do all we can and seek to lift ourselves by our own bootstraps. But it's a cruel jest to say to a bootless man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And many Negroes, by the thousands and millions, have been left bootless as a result of all of these years of oppression and as a result of a society that deliberately made his color a stigma and something worthless and degrading.
hear success stories all over the country. It's funny when you play sports, pulling yourself up by your bootstraps is not a weird concept. Nobody in sports is blaming the white man. You're going out, you're working out.
There we go again. Like, what is it with this white man? Now, when it comes to sports, listen, Officer Tatum, when it comes to sports, these are the places, let me tell you, these are the places where black people and all brown, different shades of brown people will mix with white people, or what they call diversity. It will be school, it will be work, and it will be sports in areas where you shop at, malls and such, and stores and all of that, right? When it comes to sports, no one is talking about or thinking about pulling their bootstraps up. Sports are about competition, Officer Tatum. That's what sports are about, competition. And in the black community, sports is about getting out of hell, getting a scholarship, going to the league. That's what sports are about in the black community. Little boys aspire to get out of the hood, buy their mama a home, and get out of hell. The same as on the plantation. Black people, literally the first boxing champion, right, that came out of America was a slave. Mr. Molyneux came out of America and boxed his way and ended up in England. But that's how we did in the past. That is the culture in the black community. Is to either do sports or entertainment to get yourself up out of the hood, to come up out of that situation, right? And it goes all the way back to what? You brought up sports, I took it back to where sports started in the black community. That's why sports are so big in our community, because you need to read a book called $40 Million Slave. That's what you need to read, right? Give you some history on how black people start, the sports culture in the black community started.
The gym, and you're showing up on game day and you're performing. Why can't we do that in life? Why can't we do that in life? Why can't we teach our young people that your education is your key?
He compared sports to life, right? Sports is just pushing your body mentally and physically. Well, when it comes to life, and when it comes to oppression, and when it comes to drugs, and it comes to poverty, and it comes to racism, it's not that simple, Officer Tatum. I don't know where you grew up at. I'm thinking you grew up in the South in a quiet little town or something, but that's not how it works when you come from the inner cities. When you come from Southern California, or you come from the Bronx in New York, you come from Chicago, or you come from Miami-Dade, you come from the inner cities, those urban areas, it's not that simple. It's never been.
To success. You get educated, you learn something, you learn a skill, learn a trade, make yourself valuable in society, and you will be a millionaire if you decide to. If you help 1 million people, you can be a millionaire.
So I'm going to end it with this. So, Officer Tatum, I see that you have a Jesus is Lord hat on, so I'm assuming that you're a black Christian. You're into Christianity, right? And what Christianity did to black people is make black people hate other black people, especially when they get a foot up above other black people. When they get a nice life, a nice job, the house with the picket fence, and they start to look down on the black community that they are from as though they're better or they have the answers to the black community. Like I said, this message would have been perfect if not, it didn't have all of that stuff about the white man. You could have left that out and just addressed black people, our morals and our mental state, and us having to do better for ourselves and have no excuses. That would have been a good message. But you kept tying everything in to the white man, right? And I bet you, I'm pretty sure of it. In fact, I'm damn sure of it. You wouldn't go to Jewish people and say that. You wouldn't talk to Jewish people and ask them why they got to always bring up Nazis. They went through the Holocaust, which was very terrible. 6 million of them died. But you wouldn't dare say, why are you bringing up Nazis? Why are you talking about them? They have a right to. So why would you do it to black people who have suffered 400 years of slavery? And the minute we say something about white supremacy or anything, that's an issue. We shouldn't use that as a crutch. We shouldn't use that's being a victim. That's a victim mentality. When we have every right to feel the way we feel about the atrocities and evil that was done to us. If you do your history, Officer Tatum, if you do your history. Listen, at the end of the day, you, my brother, I don't got nothing against you. I do not agree with, your stance. In this particular video, there were some things that I definitely agree with. I definitely agree with the fact that we cannot, use excuses, use what happened to us in the past not to move forward, not to get educated, right? But I also believe that a black person has the right to feel however they want to feel about people that rape, rob, and murdered them, in the racism and all of those things that continue to happen to this day, and still improve their life, their personal life, and still not have an excuse for not moving forward in their personal life. So with that, for all my viewers that's watching, if you like this video, if you're really feeling this angle, this is my first time dissecting something that someone has said. What I want you to do is like, share, and push my videos so that I can do these type of videos. Help me get in a position where I can do these type of videos, because I feel like there's a lot of black people saying things online that need to answer for some of the things that they say. Now, Officer Tatum, I will challenge you to a debate, to a discourse, to a discussion. Maybe the word was wrong for challenge, but a discussion on these topics. I'll debate the very Christianity that you profess, the validity of that religion. We can do that. How about that? Whatever you want to do, we can do it. We could talk about the black community. We could debate the validity of the Christian religion that was given from the slave master to the slave. Whatever you want to do, we can do it. And then we can really determine what is real love, what is real, who really cares about the black community and who actually hates the black community. So with that, this is Black Authentic Truth.